Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is every other Monday, so it's time for By the Sword. I am joined again by our intrepid heroes. I have with us to my left, uh, Caldo, our resident wizard, who's going to go through a bit of a change. We had a class change up to make him into an actual caster instead of that sort of muted caster. We then have Igor, the barbarian. Uh, Lord of Fish and purchaser of large logs. Coming around, we have Ovar, the Warden, Northman exile, and currently uh, impressed pit fighter. Then we have with us Drogo, the Beastmaster, also a wild Northman who talks to beasts and they talk back. Ace Gear, the thief among the group, and our resident gambler.
You bet.
So when we last left our heroes, they got themselves into a bit of trouble on their quest to kind of find out what was up with the Owls, the gang that seems to have the city of Lancea not necessarily in its grip, but definitely seems to control and pull a lot of strings in the city. They had gone into a bar or a tavern and tried to do some scouting. And in doing so, Orvar seemed to have got himself a position as a fighter and was given an apartment and no small amount of persuasion. So, but other than that, we kind of left off with everybody sort of regrouping, giving the information that they had, and it is there that we will pick up and begin today's session. So, let's start with, what are you guys all doing?
My latest endeavor was to go down to the local store and pick up a suit of leather armor, because it sounds like we're starting to get serious here.
All right.
I'm getting my my gear packed up in case we need to get out of town for any reason.
And Orvar?
I'm acquainting myself with Drogo's bird. I think he might come in handy if I do stay at the apartment. I might use the bird, as like a way to like contact the others if I need to. So I'm trying to make him imprint myself on his bird.
And Drogo, what are you doing?
I guess I'll convince the bird that Orvar is not going to eat him, and it means him no harm.
I give him shiny things and food.
Excellent. And Ace Gear?
Ace Gear is becoming a regular at the gambling house, trying to not to be a big gambler, just small wages. He gets out before he wins too much, but also before he loses too much, so he doesn't make much of an impression. So he's just seen as one of the regulars there.
Go ahead and roll me a d6 if you will, Ace Gear.
Sure. And that's a 2.
All right, so by my calculations, you have managed to break even. You have turned yourself any new cash, you're not down any. So,
okay.
Look for a leather strap to strap my new battering ram to my back while I'm walking.
Strap an entire iron shod log to your back. What's your strength again?
Just in case.
Just call it a shield.
What is your strength, though?
My strength is 13.
Okay. I mean, it'll account for a substantial amount of your carry weight. Obviously, encumbering it. Absolutely.
I'll be looking to drop it off at the soonest time possible.
So, a few days go by as you're doing your various things, and I believe you guys had a room at an inn that you had been staying in collectively, right?
Yeah.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Orvar, have you been avoiding the room that they gave you, or have you been
Yeah, I said I had to meet somebody, so I couldn't stay that night. So then I've been
Okay. So there's a knock at your in the door at the inn, kind of not in the middle of the night, but late in the evening before you've kind of all gone off to sleep. A quiet rapping at your door.
Are we expecting anyone?
It's the bird. It's the raven.
So I go check the door, I guess.
All right. So you open the door. Standing there is a what looks like a young boy. By his attire, he looks like a sailor of some sort, and as your light adjusts to the difference between the light in your room and the dark hallway outside, you recognize him. It's actually one of the sort of cabin boy young crewmen off of Kaza's crew. And he smiles.
Can I help you?
Sees you as like, oh, Beastmaster, I'm happy to find you at home. My captain Kaza, you know him. He wishes to speak with you and your friends.
Come in.
He comes in, looks around, and kind of as he looks from one of you to the next, you can see a look of wonder in his eyes, like he's looking on like heroes or great warriors, and he's just kind of beaming ear to ear. It's like, I am so honored to be in your presence, mighty warriors. You slew the Cyclops and killed so many pirates.
And half of them were already dead.
Yeah.
He chuckles a bit. He's like, well, I was sent by my captain to offer a job to you all. He has work for you, if you're willing to meet with him.
Let's go see what he has to say.
Yeah.
I give him a big toothless grin and I say, count us in. Let's go hear what he has to say at least.
He nods. He's like, I will tell him to expect you, and he gives you a piece of paper. He actually looks around and he hands it to Lacaldo. I like, who should I give this piece of paper to? And he gives it to Lacaldo.
I presume it's one of the various languages that I can read.
Yes, it's written in Bantakin.
Okay. I'll read it out loud.
It's not so much text as a map, like a small map of this of a section of the city showing where to meet him.
What time? Are we leaving now, or are we supposed to show up in the morning?
He wishes you to meet him in the middle of the night when the moon is high.
All right.
You notice on the map that the location appears to be one of the dry docks down off to the side of the harbor. One of the boat slips where they pull them up out of the water to debarnacle them and repair them in like. It's crudely sketched, but you can see there's obviously by its location and your guys' time spent down on the waterfront, and your time just having lived in the city for about a month at this point, if not more.
I look at the small kid and I said, well, if he expects us to scrape barnacles, I'm going to kick you in the butt. But
Oh, no. this is not manual labor. He kind of hangs his head. He's like, I'm afraid that is more my job than yours. But he says there's coin in it for you if you're willing to undertake this task.
Did
I
he
mean,
pay
we are
you?
running low. Well, I'm running low, anyways.
Yeah, I need money.
I look at the child. Did he pay you to deliver this?
I do it as part of my duty to his crew, as a part of his crew. I'm afraid this is just work for me.
Well,
He sort of looks around, looks to you all kind of expectantly.
yeah.
I'll look around and I'll grab like a potato. Here, have a potato.
Takes it,
And I'll smack easier. Give him a coin as well, my friend.
he chuckles. He's like, most generous of you.
I'll give him a copper piece.
He bites it and he smiles and tucks it into a little coin purse on his hip. Along with the potato, he tucks into a little sack. He's like, I'll roast this later, but I will let my master know that you'll be meeting with him at the high moon.
Thank you.
And with that, he turns and departs. Walking down the dark hallway, you can hear him descend the stairs, kind of thump, 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 leaving you to yourselves in the inn again, in your room.
An opportunity to make money.
How is this going to affect you, Ovar? Any?
Well, I'll see what Kaza has to say, and I will brace him about the gentleman we have met and what he knows of them. But I am contractually obligated for at least one fight, so we'll see. I don't trust Kaza any more than I trust the people that I'm dealing with, so we'll see.
Well, asking him about the other group was a wise idea. Yes.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I think of something wise. Not often, but
Well,
Now, if you just
Kaza's untrusting is the one thing we can trust.
there you go.
That is fair. Wise words, gambler.
Well,
How long do we
I'll
have
get
before
food
we
then,
need
now that we're
to,
up again?
yeah? How long do we have before we need to head out to get there in time?
It's nighttime proper, so you have a few hours before midnight. So, it'd be like 8 or 9-ish. Right
I
now.
suggest we get a couple hours sleep so we're well rested. The night might be very long.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we can do that.
I sleep next to my battering ram. Let's lay it on the ground next to me.
It's log.
You should probably lay that in front of the door in case somebody tries to come in at night.
There you go.
I look down at the battering ram sadly, and I drag it over in front of the door.
I mean, if you're going to have a
I bet you it'll do a
door
good
stop,
job
might
if
as well
someone
use it.
tries to break the door down.
All right. So, are all of you sleeping then?
Well,
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. It's like, don't worry, I got a sausage. If someone comes through that door, and I'll regale them the story of the sausage once again because it was so funny.
So you're staying up while we sleep.
I'll
Yeah,
stay up
I'm
for
awake.
I'll stay for like an hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna get as much rest as I can.
All right. So, a couple hours pass with no incident. Those who rested get a little bit of rest. The inn below you has quieted down to sort of that low murmur that it tends to go to as the night goes on. Do you head out then?
Yeah.
I presume we
Yeah.
are all going
Yeah.
to go.
Mhm. Gear up and head out.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So,
Igor, are you taking your your piece of wood with you, or are you gonna leave it behind?
I'm going to leave it here for now.
to guard our belongings.
Yeah.
You can fall on them in case they come in.
Yeah.
I put it under my bed.
Does a full-on predator trap with it, and it ties it up with ropes and swings.
Come on, I'm right here.
Work for Ewoks. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So heading downstairs and through the quieting inn, you step out into the bitter cold of the winter night. The slush that usually covers the streets is now frozen into a loud crust that crunches under each footfall. While it makes it impossible for you to move stealthily, it also makes it near impossible for anybody to sneak up on you. You can hear anybody moving. Even the city's animals that are still out and about can't move across it without making any noise. The scurry of a rat, a cat jumping from an alley, and the moon is bright in the sky. It's glistening down. Sky is wide open. Thus, it's like super cold because there's nothing holding the heat in. But it also means that the city streets are quite easy to navigate in the dark. Make your way through the city. Occasionally, you see a few folks huddled in doorways or around braziers where they're warming themselves. Even the city guard is nowhere to be seen, really. It's just so cold, they're probably keeping themselves indoors. You make your way down to the dry docks, and you can see a brazier burning in the location where you're supposed to be meeting Kaza. And you can see several hooded figures standing around that brazier. From your point of view, you're kind of above this because they're actually down in the dry dock slip, sort of where they would be out of sight of people casually observing, but because you're coming up to the location, you can get a seat down into it. The way to get down is you can either go to the front of the slip and just walk down the general slope that's there, but there is also a rickety kind of scaffolding, wood scaffolding set of stairs that goes down from the side that you're on.
Yeah, stairs in wintertime, rickety.
Yeah, I'll go the other way. No
yeah,
stairs.
I'll go to the slope and slide down.
I'll get my shield out, my tower shield, and I'll use that as a sled to slide down.
I mean, it's a pretty gradual slope. It's not like, it's the sort of slope that you could pull.
I'll give him a good push.
Yeah. So. Well, then I give him a push before he gets on.
Give him a push so he can slide down.
A running push and give him a sled. And it's just like home. And then I was running out.
Playfully approach
one copper piece, he doesn't make it to the end.
So you managed to slide and jaunt your way towards the group around the brazier. You can see that based on the noise that you're making, they all kind of the hooded figures turn and face you, and you can tell like at least one of them moves their hand to their hip, kind of just as if getting ready for whatever might could possibly be an attack or something. But they seem to relax as they see you, and you can hear Kaza's voice come from under one of the hoods. No, put your blade away. These are my friends. And he kind of throws his hood back and he puts his hands up in the air. And you see his stupid smiling face. He's like, my friends, welcome again. Yes, I have work for you.
I smile at Kaza. Hi, Kaza!
It's like he smiles. It's like, oh, you, the fisherman.
Yes, it's me.
My
friends.
Come, my friends, warm yourselves around the fire, and we will discuss business.
I definitely do that.
Yeah.
You get closer, you see that the faces under the hoods. There are faces you recognize from his ship as well. except for one man who is in a very expensive-looking cloak with a very expensive-looking robe underneath. He's kind of an older man, sort of beaky features, very patrician kind of nose, and pointed chin. But you see around his belt, he has several strings of coin and a large book that is strapped to his belt as well, that hangs on his hip.
So, Kaza, it's kind of cold. Let's get to it.
He smiles and warms his hands over the fire. Well, it is not I who have the work for you. It is my associate here. You see, there is some business he would like for you to take care of in a discreet fashion.
Good. We're known for our discretion.
Yeah, I think we just proved that.
I won't say a word.
I tuck my thumbs in my belt to make sure it obvious that I don't need their heat. It's like, oh, so discretion, hey? So it's more giants and more ghouls to deal with?
No. But I will let my associate tell you what the job is. And the man kind of pulls his hood back so you can see his face. And you can see under the weatherproof cloak, he's actually got a fur hat on. And he kind of looks at you, and he's a little blue-lipped, like he does not like to be out in this cold. Kind of purses his lips. He's like, the city has a problem, and I believe you can help me. The city in general. I'm sure you've heard that the Praetor is overdue in returning to the city.
Get a new Praetor.
Yes.
It is not so simple. See, the Praetor is a man of status, and his tardiness and his seeming disappearance is something that worries the nobility and the gentry of the city. The merchants, they worry that their endeavors, their businesses might be threatened. And it is this, it is for this that I seek your assistance in locating our missing Praetor.
Wouldn't he have traveled with a large caravan?
Indeed he did, and was, but his caravan is overdue, and we've not the resources to really send out. Well, he pauses a moment. He's like, "Let me rephrase that. It would be unwise to send soldiers who are not known for the tightness of their lips to find out what happened to the Praetor. Soldiers talk. The people of the city talk. You, on the other hand, and forgive me for saying this, are not known well in this city, and thus your truth is debatable, should you say anything.
If I were a smarter man, I would be insulted by that.
I do
In
not.
fact, I think I am.
I do not mean to say that you are simple. I mean really say that you are not established in the city, and so have not established your word amongst its inhabitants.
Well, that might be an issue. I have dealings with another person in the city where I might become known. I'm scheduled to fight in some arena or something or other in the next few days. And after I smash my opponent, I'm sure I'll be known.
Well, even if we do become famous, Orvar, we are still not one to blab or
That is
spread
true.
gossip.
Nicole speaks true.
Rumors travel fast, but they rarely leave our group.
And that is my hope. I do not wish for any ill news of the fate of our Praetor to spread too rapidly. It could send people into a panic. It's bad enough we have this terrible lion savaging the land outside the city. I do fear that the two may be related.
Orvar chuckles. A lion has ate him.
Well, if it hasn't eaten him yet, we have ways to deal with lions. That might involve a pelt afterward. Might involve a nice conversation. Then I'll throw a knowing glance over at Drogo.
The gentleman, kind of hefts the string of coins at his waist. He's like, "I have 500 silver to pay you to undertake this task. 500 more, and you can bring me news of the or the safe return of the Praetor."
So bring back his head, whether he's dead or alive.
No, you foolish man! I want to know if he is alive, and if he is, bring him back, please.
Well, that's what I was trying to say. Bring him back alive. Bring his head back. Obviously, it would still be attached if he was alive.
If he is, if he has met an ill fate, I would very much appreciate you bringing back proof of that fate. But
Head would
by
work.
all means, please try to keep him alive if he is alive.
How much proof do you?
I understand the job, sir. Yes.
How much proof do you want if he's been eaten by that lion?
Well,
I leave that to you to determine.
I don't think the lion's going to keep his, seal or
standard,
what have you. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not a pin on his chest. Oh, I ate this guy today.
I leave this to you, to the likes of you. I am not a man of the blade, and I certainly don't know how one would go about it. But I'm sure there will be some evidence, whatever his fate is. If he has been set upon by bandits, or perhaps his enemies have taken him, I also wish to know this, and I will pay you handsomely if you can actually deal with whoever it is that would do such a dastardly thing.
Which direction was he supposed to come from?
He hands you a folded piece of paper. He's like, "I have here a map showing his proposed route. You can backtrack this, and then this should lead you to at least where things went wrong with his procession. He would have been traveling with three wagons and a column of armed guards."
And when was the last known place he was seen?
He was last seen on the high road, departing the city west from here. And pardon me, I got to look up that location.
I asked him, can I take a look at that map?
He hands you the map.
I open it up. By the way, I'm not literate. Do I understand what the locations and everything mean on it?
The map is mostly pictographic. It shows a route. You can see stands of trees drawn on it. Either it's just a quickly drawn map, or he was not expecting that you would necessarily have the literacy skills to understand reading. So he's made it easy for you, so to speak.
I hand it over to Orvar.
I look at it. I admit that I am intrigued about this mission. It falls well to our skills, but as I said, I do have prior commitments, and then I make sure I punch. What's his name again? The Oh, sorry.
Kaza?
Kaza.
Kaza, yeah, I'm going to make sure I put up like the knuckle, right, like jab in the shoulder. Kaza, friend, and I slug him. And what do you know of of these people that I now describe the people I'm going to be dealing with? You know of them?
Yes, they are one of the various groups of fight mongers in the city.
Untrustworthy, I'm sure.
Only as trusting as the coin they can make off the blood and sweat of those who fight for them.
Have you been to any of their fights?
I have been, yes.
Is it bare knuckle or is it with weapon?
They are full arena fights with an assortment of weapons, usually selected by whoever it is who pays for the game.
Is it to the death or is it first blood?
If you are lucky, it is to the first blood, but there are some that are fought to the death, indeed.
So, in order to get a fighter entered into the arena, you have to be a fighter's manager and then bring your fighter to the arena?
That is usually how it is done, yes.
I wonder if we could have one of us represent a manager and one of us represent a fighter, fight Orvar, but not actually try to kill him.
You would try to fix the fight?
That's what I'm thinking about. What do you think,
Oh.
Orvar?
That would be unsavory.
Who decides whether it's to the death or to first blood or?
That is usually determined by the man by the party that contracts the fight.
That's what I would be worried about.
What they wish.
That's what I would
We
worry
could
about.
eliminate all of the other potential ones that day to where he has to select us as your opponent.
Well,
Uh,
I'm not afraid I would not come out of it alive.
I'm not sure we'd survive the angry bettors who will lose their money with such an arrangement.
And as much as I don't like the city, I don't cherish getting chased out of it by an angry mob.
Well, I'm thinking I'll meet with this man. Maybe I can delay my fight as I have prior commitments, and then we can look for the Praetor. And if after we return from that, we can clean up in the arena.
I've got one demand from this, from my own. I want an invitation, Kaza, to one of your fancy schmancy dinners after it's all said and done.
He smiles. He's like, I could probably arrange that as long as you also promise that you will dress the part.
Oh, yeah, sure, I will.
You can see the gentleman that's there with you sort of cringe at the thought. He looks at you. And he's like, so will you do this job for me, or must I find others who are willing or more brave to do so?
Oh, it's nothing to do with brave. These guys are more brave than you need them to be, by far. It's just a matter of prior commitment. And obviously, the Praetor being missing is of great priority to you. Orvar, did you know when you needed to head back to the arena?
All I know is I'm meeting with tomorrow, I believe. And then we haven't discussed when the actual fight was.
Kaza thinks, he's like, you can see he's thinking, he's like, what if I put in a word for you that bought you some time, Ovar?
I would be up for that. And then when I come back and fight, bet on me, and I want a percentage of your winnings after I smash where I have to deal with.
This sounds like good business. I could do this, yes. I will tell him that you are ill, that you ate bad dates or something.
He was very, very drunk when they made this deal.
I'm sure he would not want to put a sick man in the arena. It would make him look as though he was trying to fix the fight, throwing in easy meat for the cleaver of a warrior. I will do this for you, so you may help my friend here.
Oh, very kind of you to do this for us, so we can help your friend.
This is business. You do for me, I do for you, and we all make out in the end.
Oh yes, yes, of course. You are ever the businessman.
Coin, and you are going to make friends. This is not a bad job for you.
No.
And then you can go fight and spill blood and become famous and have women and drinks and men and whatever else you might wish thrown upon you.
Think about that party afterwards that Kaza's going to have for us. Right, Kaza?
You can see the gentleman just absolutely blanch at the thought of it. I will get you into one of these parties, yes. But you must complete this task and not die, and by all means, visit a good tailor.
I think I want to go too.
Then you're coming. Of course. Everybody's coming.
Yes.
Right, Kaza?
The more the merrier. Yes, yes.
And we can bring the badger.
Does he do?
Don't forget the seagull.
Is it a dancing badger?
Oh, he
He
can
can do some very nice
well.
things.
He is well trained.
He smiles. Maybe I find a costume for the badger. He can appear as a gentleman. I mean, if your friend here, and he waves over to Igor, can manage it, I'm sure your creature can as well.
I give everybody a toothless smile.
He kind of elbows you, Orvar, and can with a kind of like kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Maybe with this 500 silver, we can buy you some wooden teeth there, Orvar.
Okay, sure.
No, I'm sorry, Igor.
As long as it's birch,
Igor.
make the mark.
Sorry.
Igor starts coughing. He's laughing so much.
So the older man there, he's like, so it is a deal then?
Oh, it was a deal 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. You had me at, what was it? Dinner.
Silver.
And a party.
Yeah.
He takes the string of silver off of his belt and holds it out for one of you to take. It's seriously just like a loop of cord that has several strings of silver coins braided onto it with other cord. It's 500 silver, so it's not light.
Spit in my hand. Deal, old man.
He with his gloved hand, he grabs your hand and then sort of looks at it. He's like, well, we should all then leave this cold and return to our quarters. I hope to be hearing some good news from you soon.
Yeah. Go home and squeeze your bed warmer. We're off.
And he kind of turns and warms his hands a bit. And Kaza looks at you guys. He's like, don't fail on this one. This is a great opportunity for you, my friends.
Have we failed you yet?
No.
Of course not.
I don't think you're going to fail, but a little encouragement doesn't hurt.
Saying don't fail is not encouragement.
That's
That's negative.
Your words, my words, your language is not my first. Perhaps I said the wrong thing.
I mean,
Call him a
encouragement would be
coward.
like, you
Not
have
hard.
this. Not, don't fail.
Yeah.
Please don't fail.
Gentlemen, it's cold out. I'm leaving.
It is.
To the Southerners.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a brisk summer's day to me.
See? Southerner, blonde.
So, you guys then head back from here then.
Yeah.
Blonde.
Yep.
All right.
Don't worry, we won't fail.
If we do fail, he'll never find out about it. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Speaking of fail, everybody, let's divide up that 500 into 5 shares right now in
Why don't we
case
wait till we
somebody
get to our room?
fails.
I agree.
We should probably wait till we're inside in our room.
Yes.
Yeah, we attracted a lot of attention out here, gentlemen. And I'm fine with doing this however you want.
We'll see it at the room.
All right.
And presuming when we get to the room, I split it out.
Oh yeah, you have no trouble getting back. Nobody with any sense is out on a night like this.
You're right, Sergeant Dan. Too much talk of failure.
So,
Not you.
all right. So, get back, divvy up your treasure.
Are we going to try to do this on foot, gentlemen? On horseback, cart? How are we going to
Well,
do this?
depends how far out of town.
Let's get some riding horses so we can cover distance.
Yep. We also need to buy enough food to get us there and back.
You can see that the course that he would have been taking would have taken him from the city of Actos to the west of here, which is actually the Ford sort of military city, the rally point for the army, and then through the series of forts that goes along the Red River. He was last heard from leaving what is marked as Castle Vigilance, which is at a fork in the Red River, about 5 days west of here.
Okay, so 10 days worth of rations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
At least.
we'll purchase that in the morning. Secure horses.
Why don't we get like a barrel of water too? Just something that will keep us not thirsty.
Would we need a wagon?
Yeah, do we need a cart or something?
Yeah, we would need a cart.
I would like to get one. Yeah.
I
We
don't
have
want
some
to lug
money
that
now.
lug that battering ram around. So.
Yeah, you should be able to move along on a cart along the roads because they'll be kept clear, because it is a military road, even though it's not the campaigning season. So a cart will run you 100 gold. And then if you're taking draft horses, those are 40 each. Your cart will take one horse or two mules. Mules are 30, horses are 40.
We may have to acquire these things through other means.
No, I had some good luck with at the gambling house. I can afford to pay for it.
Oh, if you're in with the gambling people, they might allow us to take a loan on interest too.
It's all the party needs to do is get in with loan sharks.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah, we just need some money. Uh,
Yeah,
25%.
we don't need the loan
Like a
shark.
daily.
No,
All
we don't
right.
need a loan. I can pay for it all.
Are you getting mules or a horse?
If we're gonna go all that way, we probably should get some kind of animal to carry stuff.
Yeah,
Well, I say so. If you're getting a cart, you'll have to have either a draft horse or 2 mules to pull it.
so
Let's get 2
I
mules
suggest
for
we
the
get
cart.
the cart and 1 draft horse for it.
That'll
And
so
we
yeah,
can-
that'll allow you to pull a load of 4,000 coins.
Yeah. And I assume that means is somebody riding on the cart on top of that?
Yes, that's including
Yeah.
the driver.
Yeah.
Or not including the
So-
driver, I should say.
And then we could also have people walking beside it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, empty wise, you guys could all ride in it, no problem.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how big it was.
It's a cart. It's like figure a 2-wheeled cart.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
a comfortable ride, but you could easily. I mean, there's only 5 of you.
It's like sitting in the back of a pickup truck together.
Exactly. You'll have 2 probably up front, and then 3 in the back.
I guess I volunteer to be the cart driver.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
all right. When are you heading out? What time of day?
well, we have to purchase the thing, so we have to do that in the morning.
Yeah.
And then once we purchase it, I figure we just head out. There's no other
Well,
need to.
We need
Lays about.
the rations too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Ace Gear will make sure with the inn that there's a place we can stable the horse and the cart.
Okay.
Just when we get it, we can bring it there.
So 7 days of standard rations is 5 gold pieces.
So we need 2 of those.
Yeah. Ace Gear is going to buy 2 weeks for himself.
Yeah, that's 5 per person for 7 days if you're going to go. Hunting will be a little slim pickings because it is winter. So that's because normally you guys probably all capable of hunting for food.
Mm-hmm.
This
I
time
will. I was just gonna say I can afford 2 weeks of dried rations.
Okay. You had a horse in your window.
Yeah. Stable's behind me, so
I am reminded of the what is that one kids movie? It's a cow farm. There's going to be cows.
I'm not too bad at hunting for food either, but I will buy enough just in case.
Well, I was just thinking that in the winter, prey is going to be relatively slim.
Yeah.
yeah, we'd have to have
Especially along the road.
You're going to have a lot of hungry deer. If there are any deer, they probably would have moved to warmer areas if they could.
we'd have to be doing trapping, and then
That takes time.
we're gonna wait for a trap, right? Because we're gonna be
Like-
moving.
Rabbits and foxes.
Especially if you're mobile, you can't really rely on traps. I mean, you can kill birds if you can find any, but again, they will likely have migrated.
Ace Gear is going to buy a couple of bundles of firewood.
Okay.
So we don't waste too much time.
A blanket for everybody so we don't
Tent.
freeze to death.
Or a tent or something, unless we want to build some kind of
Hmm.
shelter out of the. I'm not sure how much snow there is, but we can always have a tent, I guess.
Yeah.
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 Or the teepee works well if you get a big canvas.
Yeah.
But then you need the wood. It'll be hard for a trap wad.
I mean, you could probably just tarp over the back of the
Yeah,
cart.
tarp over the cart. Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, so I mean, effectively, I mean, we've all seen medieval movies and stuff. We've seen the big 2-wheeled carts you know, the big solid disc wheel, you know, fixed axle, you know, sidewalls. That's kind of what you have. All right, so you set out with your supplies loaded on your cart. All of you guys riding under the out in the weather. The sky is still clear when you set out, so you know you're not having to compete with any snow or visibility issues. And you're taking the road then, or that was the plan?
Yeah.
All right. So just a moment here. I'm going to leave you guys to deliberate for a moment. Let's take a quick bio break if anybody needs it.
Cool.
And I'm gonna go use it. We'll be right back, folks. Nature calls.
Yeah, with a cart, there's not much of a choice.
Yeah. Well, the ground is starting to be frozen, so it's hard. So it is possible to ride off-road, but it's slower. And certainly we can ride on the cart while that's happening.
What about a Santa sleigh?
My understanding was there wasn't enough snow yet for the
Yeah, we don't know if we
for
got
a sleigh.
rocky road to go over.
No, let's go along the road. If we need to go off-road, it's always possible. We just need to walk alongside the cart. Maybe help it out over a particularly rough patch. But let's start along the road. We might find something. I mean, this whole procession that the Praetor was in would leave some traces if there was a battle or anything like that. I can't imagine it disappearing without a trace.
Yep.
Okay. So Drogo, I don't know if you heard what we were discussing about going off-road.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I don't know if you agree or disagree or have anything to add.
No, it seems like if we have to, we can do that. But I don't know if I want to travel the whole way off road.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it for now. Traveling off-road may mean we miss.
You'd have to compete with snow.
Mhm.
Snow built up too. Trying to get your cart through. But whatever you guys choose to do, that is what you will do. All right, so you're traveling on road then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There isn't enough snow for a Santa sleigh.
Well, a sledge would definitely be a way to go.
But we could have like a Red River cart, but they're really, really, really noisy. So they're like the SUV of like the 1800s, but they're just wood on wood, so they're super noisy.
Yeah.
So that's probably not the best thing.
Yeah. All right. So, traveling westward along the road is a pretty quiet trek. There's not a lot of traffic this time of year, so you're really not dealing with much in the way of travelers along the road. Occasionally, you do pass by some unfortunates who are traveling bundled up, and the occasional work detail of what look like soldiers in their winter cloaks carrying picks and shovels, effectively road crews. It's making sure that the highway is clear.
Filling in the worst of the ruts. Yep.
Exactly.
The period appropriate version of the DOT.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, well, if you're an empire and you have soldiers that aren't fighting, you use them as work. So
I mean, keeps them in shape at least.
it also keeps them from getting bored because that's how you get revolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So your first day or so, you're traveling under clear skies. Um, you don't really discover much of interest along the roads. No sign of the caravan, and really just easygoing. You've had to camp a bit, plenty of places to just pull off the road and do so. Uh, it's about a 2-day trip before you actually see Castle Victory, which is the last fort before Lancea. On the horizon, you see a small stone keep with a high central tower and what looks like open-topped, sort of square towers on the corners. Uh, Smoke is rising up from it in little lines. You can tell where various chimneys are burning. The soldiers are there. There is a encampment outside the keep, outside the castle, that you can see where there's several long uh, timber houses that are set up, most likely barracks, with a low earth wall built around those, with a line of sharpened sticks projecting out on the other side of a ditch from that wall. So, a very fortified position outside the gates of the keep, and then the keep itself. So.
Before we get anywhere close to that, I just tell the group, remember, don't tell these guys anything. We're just going to Actos. We're not looking for anybody.
Well, I look at Drogo and Igor, and then I look at Aesgear and Nicolo. It could be just your guards as you head to Actos.
Yeah. We're just
I
on our
spit
way.
on the ground
And
towards
scouts,
the
what have you.
from a far distance. I spit.
Yep. Even if they are your fellow soldiers, don't. And then we just continue on unless something happens. We have supplies. We don't necessarily need to ask these guys for supplies. If they're willing to stop and tell us stories, we'll listen.
Nah, they can bugger off. Let's go.
So it is possible for you to continue along the highway, but without turning off into the encampment. It does not block passage along the highway.
Oh, okay.
So, it is the keep is built to overlook the river that goes east-west, and then has the encampment built outside the gate of the keep that then has a road that goes to the main road.
So as long as it's not obvious that the Praetor is parked there waiting, then I just say we keep going.
Okay.
Or we could always ask if there's any bandits in the area or things to look out for that possibly might have stopped the Praetor. General news, they can.
I would, because they're going to expect general news from us.
Well, we just came from the city. People are shut down tight. It's cold.
It's snowing. That's the news.
There you go.
Yeah.
I vote for continuing on, but I'm just 1 of 5.
No need to stop unless we have to.
All right. So are you stopping or not? What's the consensus?
We're moving on.
We're moving on.
Fine. Yeah.
All right. So you move by. You can see from the highway, looking towards the encampment. You can see that on the wall there are at least a few unfortunates that are out in the weather under their military cloaks, having to stand guard. They sort of observe as you roll on by. On your third day along the road, past the castle, and before you reach the next castle, you do see a small encampment off to the side of the road. Campfires burning, columns of smoke. No sign of any sort of military pennants or banners or anything like that. So it's very likely a civilian encampment.
Let's go. Let's go say hi. Let's go ask them what they've seen.
Give them news of the road ahead.
Yeah, they can give us the local flavor.
Yeah, at least they were on the road, unlike the other fellows.
So are you approaching the encampment then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say we'd stay a respectable distance away. But yeah.
Okay. So moving closer to the encampment, you can see that this looks to be a bit of an ad hoc affair. While they have tents and the like, they appear to have been set up hastily, and you can see that they have a wagon that is off kilter. It's like tilted over on one side. A big four-wheeled wagon affair, and you can see two oxen there. One of which does not look well, is actually like on its side in the snow.
Oh.
The bandits were here. That's why everything's turned over.
You can see people there still kind of milling about, but they're all hunched around a fire and like trying to keep warm and cooking food, it looks like.
Let's go find out the reason that cart was turned over, because it might have been foul play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go see if the oxen is dead or just sick.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure to make a bit of extra noise as we approach to not, make sure no one thinks we're sneaking up.
Crunching along the road.
I've got my shield out and my broadsword out, and I'm marching forward through the snow.
All right, your approach is noticed, and they kind of can see a couple of men stand up and pick up spears off the ground. But the rest of the folks just kind of sit, hunched over, in front of the fire. And you hear one of them call out in Bantakin, "Who goes there?"
What did he say? I said,
"Hello, fellow travelers.
You are travelers and not bandits.
Do we look like bandits?
Would you say if you were?"
Again, we are not looking for trouble. It looks like trouble found you.
Yes, it did.
Is this something we need to worry about, or did you dispatch them?
There were no bandits that did this. Our wagon broke its axle, and in doing so, injured one of our animals.
We could go look at your animal if you will let us.
Is he telling us the truth? I ask.
What are you mad that people are speaking in a language you don't understand?
Yeah, speaking in the language of the chariot. I whisper to Igor, "Don't worry, I have arrows if need be."
What do you think's going to happen, Orvar? Have you been listening?
All I hear is blah, 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 blah. I have no idea. I don't speak Vantican.
They have not seen bandits. They had trouble with their wagon, and it hurt their ox. If Drogo can't fix them somehow, I might be able to.
Worst case scenario, We've got ox for dinner.
The men lower their spears. They don't completely lower them, but they're like not pointing them out like on guard. They kind of just relax their. If you think you can help, we would very much appreciate it, and you are certainly welcome to warm yourselves by our fires. Those of you who are not engaged in.
I asked them if they speak the northern tongue.
One of them, you can tell he's clearly a Northman himself. He's like, I speak the tongue.
Yeah, go talk to these gentlemen because they're not used to speaking our language and this language, and you can calm them down immeasurably. Drogo, if you don't mind, let's go look at the rocks and see what we can do.
I start heading that way.
Orvar, you can see that the Northman with his big red beard and long hair is kind of eyeing you a bit. Like he's like trying to make, size you up a bit.
I'd stand up on top of the cart to get a good view of everybody. And it's like, I look at him, I give him a nod.
Now you have scars that mark you as an outcast.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Yeah. So he's like, you can't help but think that he might be taking interest in that. Drogo and Licaldo, you guys were heading over to the cart.
Yeah, I just want to look at the ox and see if how injured he is.
Igor, Askir, what are you guys doing?
I'm going to stay in the cart for right now and just watch everything, keep an eye out.
Okay.
I will approach the Northman and say, don't worry too much about him, and I sort of point with my head at Orvar. I bet you out here these things don't matter anymore. We're not back home. Let's go near the fire. I have some dice we can roll.
Go ahead and make a charisma check for me.
Okay.
Roll under.
Where's my D20? Oh, that is a 14. My charisma is way below that. With a
Do
10.
you have a reaction bonus or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll look at the Northman. It's like, you know why I'm here. Why are you here?
He's like, I am here for coin. Men like you are worth coin.
Is that what you want? Coin from me?
I do not know whose debt you are in, so I will not make it any business of mine, those scars of yours.
You're a wise man. As I sort of like shift my bow a little bit.
He looks at you, he's like, now, brother, come down, warm yourselves by the fire. We have mead and fine mutton.
I jump back out of the cart when I hear those words, and I start walking towards.
Stay on the cart, and I swear I'm in Bandican.
Askir, you find yourself with a chunk of meat thrust into your hand, along with a drinking horn.
Mm-hmm. I grab both and I partake.
So they kind of just invite. They make room for you around the fire they have going there. They've got a stone ring of fire with a tripod set above it. There's a pot of stew there as well. Seems to be bubbling away along with chunks of meat. So going over to the oxen, you can see that the animal is still alive. They have not a blanket or so much, but they do have like a tarp over it to try and keep it insulated. But it is laying on its side. The wagon itself does seem to actually have a broken axle, and the wheel is sitting all off kilter. That cart is very much, like at a 45-degree angle.
So I go to the oxen and I lean into it and I tell it, "Don't worry, we're here to see if we can help you."
It raises its head and moos in a sound of understanding. So,
And I scritch it between the horns.
In a clandestine type way, I put my hands on its head as Drogo is scratching its ears or scratching its forehead, and I'm gonna cast Cure Light Wounds on it.
okay. And how much do you end up healing?
3.
All right. So the animal shifts a bit uneasily, and after a few moments, you can see it kind of roll back onto its feet and kind of pick itself back up. It's still favoring a leg, but it is standing.
And I'll look at Drogo and say, "You really have a way with animals." It's loud enough for the people to hear.
There's
It's a gift.
a resounding kind of like elation from the group as the animal stands. They're like, "Oh, blessed be! Whatever did you do?"
It wasn't hurt all that bad.
He almost speaks to the animals.
One guy snarls, "That lazy beast. We should have just put him down and made chow out of him."
Not a good choice.
That's always a choice. It is winter. I understand. But if you can get your wagon fixed up, probably get everything back to where you need it to be.
Well, we would probably be in a better state if some fool hadn't made room for more goods in the wagon and left our spare parts behind.
All right, sir, I say, can I take a look at the damage to your wagon and see if maybe we could help you fix it?
You're certainly free. We definitely do not have the parts. Our plan was to walk down the highway to the fort and see if we could recruit some help from the soldiers there.
Well, there were quite a few soldiers there. They might be willing to help you. But now that your animal seems to be recovering, then your outlook looks a lot better. But Igor here has a way with wood, just like Drogo has with animals. So Lakato keeps translating between the two of you guys.
Well, if you can find a way to repair the axle and get us on our way, we'd be most appreciative. Even if it was just enough to get us to the fort where we could get a proper repair made and while being protected.
Yeah. Well, let me see what I can do. I'd try to do an examination on the situation and see what tools I have to try to fix it or just get it patched up to where they can get back to the nearest place.
What was your secondary skill again?
My secondary skill is mining.
Okay. Go ahead and make for me a wisdom check.
I rolled over.
Oops. All right. So you can see that the axle itself is definitely broken. It would take a lot to fix the axle itself. You'd have to find some way to attach it in a way that would allow it to support the weight of the wagon. So you don't see a way that you could do that with the tools that you have.
Hey, everybody, I think that we're going to need a wheelwright for this one or something. This is more than I can handle.
If we didn't leave your hunk of wood in the apartment, maybe we could use that for now.
Well, I know how to make things that smash stuff. I can do that pretty well.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at smashing stuff too when I look at the north, man.
No, I mean there are trees around. I mean you can see that there are stands of woods and stuff nearby that you could source wood from if that was your intent.
Damn it, Jim! I'm a cobbler, not a carpenter.
I don't think any of you have any woodworking skills.
Nope.
No.
Well, if worst case scenario, you now have 2 oxen to ride to the fort, and maybe put an axle between some ropes and just drag that thing back. So they have options. I'm not too worried about them.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly accept that explanation and invite you to stay and feed yourselves in gratitude for your assistance, because at least now they have their animal alive and working, so they're definitely there. But yeah, so you spend some time mealing with them. You have enough day to where you could probably move on some further in your travels if you wanted to.
What did they have as their cargo?
It looks like several barrels as well as a bunch of sacks.
I want to know what the material is in these containers. I asked them.
Well, more meat and some grain.
Oh, okay.
I asked them if they've encountered anything strange along the way.
Strange how so?
Bandits, beasts,
Barbarians.
strange. Barbarian. Well, I mean, barbarians aren't so strange.
The Northman perks up. He's like, we did come across a line of tracks in the snow, very big cat tracks that crossed the highway. There was what looked like a disturbance in the snow, a sign of some sort of fight or something, and then as the tracks, along with some wagon tracks, went off the road.
Is that like
How far back was that?
Or how far away is that?
About a good half day back. About a day outside of the fort. We thought nothing of it. We figured it was just another group that had maybe rallied themselves and moved off the trail to camp, but off the road to camp. But we had our own business to attend to. But you asked if there was anything strange, and I did think that the animal prints were certainly worth note. I even thought about going and hunting it myself.
And you're sure it was a cat? Or appeared to be a cat?
I have fought lions and great beasts before. We have them in the north. Great saber-toothed creatures, and these were very similar.
I'll nudge.
Did you hear anything?
Oh, sorry. Right.
What was that, Orvar?
Drogo can go. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you hear anything like a roar or?
No, the tracks were old by the time we came by them. They were crusted by the snow, but there has not been any new snowfall, so they were still visible.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, Mighty Hunter, looking at the tracks, how big do you think this animal was?
The paw prints were this big.
That's bigger.
Then I'll nudge Igor. It's like, how much is it worth healing your oxen? And I pat one of the meads. Keg of mead?
Igor raises his hand. Mead, yes.
Lucaldo, can you translate in the best way possible?
Oh, I thought you're still talking to the big hunter. Yeah.
Well, but I'm well.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
understood me, but
If the hunter seems like he's in charge, I'll let you guys talk to him. If he's just kind of like a hard hand, then yeah, I'll translate that. My northern friends are wondering if a healthy oxen is worth one of those, even one of the smaller kegs of meat. They have thirst.
smaller.
One of the other gentlemen, a much more merchantly looking fellow, based on his paunch and the rings on his fingers and stuff, looks up and he scratches his chin, but he's like, "You may take one of the smaller casks. I would consider this fair payment for the healing of my animal."
Done.
Generous.
Igor, they said that one's all yours.
Yeah.
And then we'll be off with our spoils. Thank you, and good fortune to you.
So they bid you
So-
farewell, and the Northman looks to you over and he's like, "So, make sure you stay out of trouble, but hopefully I'll see you in the city sometime."
Yes, you can come watch me fight.
"Oh, you're going to be fighting?"
How do you think I got the scar? And then I kind of
He smiles. He smiles, and you see he's got like several gaps in his teeth where he's clearly been busted in the chops a few times. He's like, well, you'll have to find me and tell me which arena you'll be fighting in."
you can find me, sir. I'm not going to find you. And then I turn my back.
He waves and lets you guys go.
New
Yeah,
friend.
let's get away from the guy who seems to have a love-hate relationship with you, Ovar.
Yeah, he's going to be dead. Excuse me. Sir.
I roll that keg into the cart.
All right. So heading down the road a ways, you get to the place that they described. You can see that there's clearly a wide area in the snow where it looks like several wagons have sort of wheeled around, and there's even like a bunch of horse prints and stuff that have kind of kicked up the snow. You see actually a few places where the snow is pink, where it looks like blood has been spilled, kind of pinkish reddish blotches, and you do see the set of wagon tracks heading off. Several of them actually heading off with a bunch of horse tracks and stuff off the road, with the cat tracks going after it.
Looks like there was an attack by a cat.
They were not lying. I think we should probably try to follow this as far as we can before that snow falls.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
By looking at the tracks, can you tell how many people or how many wagons there were?
Looks like there were 3 wagons, and at least 4 horses. Besides the draft horses, there were actually like 4 like free roaming horses.
Mhm.
All right.
So probably like you would assume like 4 mounted men or something
Right.
like that.
Okay. Yeah, let's follow those tracks.
Can we follow it in the wagon, or do we have to dismount and go on foot?
Well, following in the wagon, you could do so. You'd have to contend with the snow, but you could definitely do so.
What I'd like to do is take the wagon with us, and once we're out of sight of the road, unhitch the horse and just keep going on foot, bringing the horse with us. It's a draft horse. We can, put some extra, some of the extra stuff that's in the cart can be put on it, and that way at least the cart's not on the road for the first passerby to grab and go with.
Yeah.
And we protect our horse too.
Exactly. And
if there's enough snow, we can always block it too, right? With like a snowbank or something.
We should
Yeah.
put our We should put our camping tent and our wool blankets on the horse.
Exactly. That kind of stuff can be
Yeah.
loaded on the horse's back.
All right. So continuing on then with just the wagon for a while, and then you disconnect the horse. It's moving on towards evening. When you see up ahead, uh, clearly a trio of wagons, sort of just all akimbo out in the middle of the field. There are around them. You can see dark patches on the snow where bodies lay, horses and men.
We gotta search them while we still have daylight.
Do you want to
Yeah.
send your bird there, Drogo, see if he comes back, or if he or some kind of giant cat like Jim Storm?
Yeah.
You might be able to
Oh.
spot the cat walking around, you know.
Yeah. not
Yeah.
sure
So I
what-
send him out to scout.
Okay.
Are the men in uniforms? Do the horses look like they have barding or any other kind of standard equipment? The way I would assume the Praetor's convoy would have.
You do see some flashes of color from the lumps that are the bodies on the ground, in the colors that the Praetor would ride under, which is sort of a deep kind of purplish color. It's this color of office.
Mhm.
Should get all of their coins from them.
possibly some of their livery, so we can prove that we found them.
So Drogo, your bird comes back, and he tells you that there are many dead men and horses, and that there are big claw marks on several of the wagons, and one of them is even partially burned. But he says there are also sparkly things all over the ground.
He says there's sparkly things all over the ground and many dead people and animals. One of the carts look like it's been burned. It looks like it's been burned.
But I smack Igor. Sparkly things.
Yeah. So if there's sparkling things on the ground, it means that it wasn't bandits, because bandits would have taken all that with them.
Get your weapons out,
That's a
boys.
safe bet.
I will string my bow, just in case.
Okay. So are you then making your way over to the actual site of the caravan?
Yeah.
Head that way.
All right. So getting over there, you a couple of the caravan wagons are actually tipped over on their side, and they've been there. You can see deep claw marks, and the one that is burned looks like it burned from the inside out. There are lots of dead men and laying in pools of red. The horses that are laying around here, as well as the men, all show signs of predation. Like there are parts of them that have been eaten and just torn off. And you can see that the cat tracks seem to go back and forth from this location off somewhere into the wilds. But you see different Drogo and Ovar with your tracking skills. You definitely can see that these tracks show coming and going over the course of several days. So this cat has been
So
returning.
he's coming back to feed on the bodies.
The sparkly things seem to be are clearly a splash of coins that are laying out in the snow, having tumbled out of a broken strongbox. You see gold coins laying on the ground.
Okay. I suggest we collect them, put them in the strong box, close it, and bring this back. If we look inside the wagons, do we see anything that could be salvageable, or that could be a clue as to who these people were?
The wagon that is burned has several charred bodies inside,
Okay.
and you can see that on the I guess the downside of the wagon, the bottom of the wagon, because it's over on the side.
Mhm.
You can see that there appears to be an oil lamp laying on the ground that was at one point suspended from the ceiling.
Mhm.
The scraps of unburnt fabric in here are really heavily, like embroidered in really fine fabric, silks and the like, and very much trimmed out in that that same Praetorian purple.
I want to go through one of the claw marks with my hand and kind of measure how wide across the claws are, so we can have an estimate. And I'll talk to Drogo about it. How big this cat is, like the size of this animal.
Based on the size of the distance between the claw marks and your experiences and the tracks and all of that, you would say this cat is very big. It's bigger than a normal lion you've ever met. It's probably pushing the same size as the saber-tooths from the north.
Does the damage to any of the bodies look like it might have been a saber tooth, or
Does not. Doesn't look like you're not seeing any sign of the saber teeth, like at the necks of the horses where you're expected. Your experience in dealing with them.
so it's big or bigger than a saber tooth, but it's clearly not one.
Wow.
Aesgear wants to circumnavigate the entire area to see if there are any human footprints leaving it.
Aesgear, you do find a single set of tracks, leaving a line of blood moving off towards a stand of trees.
Okay. And do any of the cat prints seem to follow it or go along it?
They do for a ways, but then there's sort of a quick wheel around, and then that set of tracks goes back towards the caravan.
Okay.
But the human tracks continue off to the stand of trees.
Okay. I will call out to the others and, point out what I've just discovered.
Yeah, Lucalo's just kind of standing there, so he'll come over.
Yeah, sorry. As Aesgear was like looking at that, I want to look at the carnage. I'm trying to figure out how the men fought. Were they in formation, or they just like shredded everywhere, or I can't tell because they're dragged because of the animal, or did they have like missile weapons? Like I'm just curious as to like how it all went down.
Okay. You can
do some crime scene, detectiving.
You can see what looked like, it looks like the horsemen were riding around, and there are several places where you can see like their lances, stuck in the ground. Maybe like they were trying to spear or throw their spears and stuff. The other wagons, one of them appears to have a bunch of dead servants and stuff outside of it, and the other one. You can see a formation. You can see soldiers look like they were moving out of that wagon with shields and swords, but were kind of cut down real quick.
How many fighting men in total?
4 horsemen and 6 footmen.
Shit. Okay.
And a pile of serpents?
Servants.
Okay.
Entire
I thought
wagon
you said
full of
serpents too.
serpents.
I heard the same thing. I'm like, what the hell is the serpents got to do with anything?
Oh, it's the witch lady.
The Praetorian likes to collect snakes.
Yeah, I mean it's possible for this world.
Yeah, I was going to say, they just
Well, except
transformed.
it's winter, and I'm sure the snakes, if it had been snakes, they've been having a bad day.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
they had it here. They're clearly this guy's wife did, and it burned him to death.
Do we want to follow those tracks or grab the the livery first?
I think we should grab the livery first, just in case we have to run.
Yeah, we don't need a big
'Cause, I
piece.
mean-
We just need enough for it to be recognizable.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ace
let's
Gear
do that.
will slowly start to follow the tracks as best he can,
Yeah, I'm going with.
and I'm not particularly hurrying. I want to make it easy for the others to catch up. No, well, you know how
Never go alone, that's for sure.
Yeah, never go alone.
Yeah,
Right? So
And it's
following
just
the
so-
tracks.
yeah.
Buddy
slowly.
system.
And if at one point it seems like I'm gonna be out of sight of the rest, I'm just gonna stand and wait there. Like if the tracks go over a hill, I'll be at the top of the hill, just so the others know where I am.
So moving along the tracks, you're able to keep pace. Obviously you're keeping an eye on the group. As you close to the stand of trees, you can see that there is a large red patch at the base of one of the trees.
And that's where the balloon broke.
All right.
Okay. Any
Shall we
other
send the
tracks?
bird?
or-
What was that?
Shall we send the bird?
And Asker, you said something. What was that?
Can I see the tracks continue after this, or any other sign of?
No, they seem to stop at the base of this tree.
Okay.
And if you approach the tree, you can
I'll
see
slowly
that
approach it, looking up the tree too, because maybe the person climbed up.
your suspicions are proven true. You can see what looks like a soldier clinging to a branch a good, maybe 15 feet up. He is missing an entire arm and is clutched on with one arm and his legs wrapped around a branch, but he's just like, bleeding down the tree.
Yeah. I'll call out to him. Friend, come down. We can help you.
You can hear him groan. He's like, "Is it gone?"
I go try to help him get off the tree.
Yeah. It's gone. You're not
He's actually
alone
getting himself
now.
about 15 feet up the tree.
Yeah.
So
I assume it's gonna be easy enough for Ace Gear to climb up with.
yeah,
So he will climb up and he will lower the soldiers so that I assume the others have caught up. Igor, Orvar, Drogo can. I'm just gonna lower him so they can catch him.
okay.
Um,
So you managed to let him down. He is quite damp with blood. And by the look of him, he's not long for the world. He's bled out pretty bad and cold. So
yeah.
you can see that at his extremities, frostbite's even set in.
Okay,
We should probably just, do him in mercifully.
No.
Were you with?
First.
Yeah, let's question him.
Yeah.
He might need healing first.
And I'm gonna start building a small fire so he can warm up. And I have my bedroll. I can wrap it around him.
Yeah, I'll take like a cord and kind of like tie off like whatever. If there's any blood coming out, like just like the appendage that's left, it's tourniquet that.
Yeah, he managed to staunch the bleeding from his arm. He does have a couple of deep claw marks and stuff on his legs, and scratches on his face and stuff. But he's otherwise, you managed to. I mean, he's bled out pretty bad already, and clearly suffering from exposure. But
Are you? Yeah. Were you part of the Praetor's band?
I was one of his guards. Yes. Kind of shivers.
How can an animal take out so many armed men?
Well, they took the arms.
It was no animal. It was a devil. As large as an ox and savage. It went for soldiers first and straight for the Praetor's wagon. It was only when the servants panicked and tried to run that it even chased them.
So it seemed to go toward the Praetor with intelligence.
This beast hated the men, the soldiers, the fighting men. It had lust, it had bloodlust for them, for us.
So this beast has some form of intelligence. Was able to recognize armed men.
Where did it attack you? On the road or on the moor? Wherever.
It first came at us when we were on the road. There was much confusion, and the caravan turned off and tried to outride it across the plains. It was a mistake.
Yeah.
What happened to the Praetor?
Is he alive or burnt?
I do not know. I was confused, and he hangs his head a bit. I ran.
We're looking for a creature that's so large that it turns armed men into disarmed men.
Was it by itself? Was it just one beast, or is there many?
It was one, a huge white lion.
Seems as if it'll make the children cry.
Would I know anything
just went
about
under
legend or anything?
What was that, Drogo? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Would I know anything of a legend or anything pertaining to this creature?
Not specifically. I mean, you do know that there are occasionally like larger specimens of wild, of normal creatures that you've encountered. I mean, in this part of the world, there are lions. Think of like the spotted lion that used to be in Northern Europe and stuff like that. That kind of, so it's not. I mean, it's not foreign to have lions, but this one sounds incredibly large. So, and it's white color. When it's all white color would be abnormal. So it's clearly an exceptional beast. But there's no specific legend that strikes you.
And it's camouflage this time of year.
I'll say there's no shame in like surviving when when all seems lost. But did the beast like knock over the wagons by itself? Is it that large?
Yes, it threw itself against the Praetor's wagon, clawed at the doors, trying to get in at him. It knocked it over. I mean, you could hear the wood of the thing creaking and cracking under the weight. Soldiers got out of their own wagon, and before they could even form up, it was on them, lashing and biting, tearing them asunder.
So it went for the Praetor's wagon first?
Yes. As soon as we were off the road, it seemed most intent on getting to him.
That seems odd.
That sounds to me, boys, like a magically controlled creature.
It sounds like a targeted attack, not just a beast looking for slaughter or food.
Why would a beast target a specific man?
because he's the Praetor.
Well, if he's,
He has enemies.
I can talk, or I
Unless that
can
beast,
command an animal to attack a specific person.
unless that beast is actually a man.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are magics that could do that.
Hmm. And you had
The
no,
beast men.
yeah,
The beast men.
and it just came upon you. You had no like prior warnings, but this animal's coming after you.
We did not see it until it was on us. And how could we? As the world is blanketed in snow right now, and it is
Fair.
as stark as the countryside.
Okay.
We need to meet this beast with spears.
Yeah.
I point to
Do we?
the carnage, and there's plenty back there.
Do we?
I mean, we have to find the Praetor.
Yeah.
True.
Or at least
Can you?
remnants of it.
That's true. Can you describe the Praetor? His height. Literally, I mean, he's bird. I don't even know his hair color, but was he wearing a signet ring or something that maybe we can identify the Praetor?
He was a tall man, yes, and he would have a signet that would show him. And he actually rifles around in his pocket and pulls out in his coin purse, pulls out a coin and shows you. He's like, he the face on the money is like he's this man.
Yeah. Well, let's throw it in the fire, then we can identify him. Like that doesn't help. If perchance you
I
do not
take
make
the
it back
coin.
to town, yeah, fair enough. Is there anyone you would wish us to speak to?
To speak to.
Well, if we cannot get you back there in one piece,
We will get you. We will try to get you back home, but we need to know.
yes. In case we can't get you back.
We need to know your next of kin.
It's like my wife and children are in Lancea. Yes. Tell them. You can tell the officer of the watch that you are looking for Tragus's family.
Ah, fair.
Okay. Ace Gear's gonna go nearby, find some young trees so we can make an improvised stretcher to carry him.
Okay.
He doesn't think that this man can walk all the way back to the cart. And with a bedroll and a couple of trees and some wood, you can make a stretcher quite easily.
Or maybe me and Ace Gear can get on one end of my tower shield and put him in the middle and just have and carry him like that.
Yeah,
your
that's a
tower
good
shield
idea.
would be a good travois. So
Yeah.
travois.
Yeah.
Pardon my bad French pronunciation. I am, after all, an American.
Sorry, Canadian.
You're forgiven.
You folks in the Great White North with your bilingualism.
I barely speak English, so there's that.
Wow.
You
don't need to speak to animals.
All right. So you managed to drag him back to the cart, along with the coinage. Lucaldo, with your healing knowledge, and also you guys from the north, from the cold north, he's probably only alive because it was so cold.
Mhm.
Because Granted, being up a tree, missing a leg for a day or so is probably not.
Oh, yeah, warming him up is not healing him.
Or missing an arm, I should
No.
say. But
Yeah,
So,
No,
I'm not, I'm not gonna snuggle him.
yeah.
let's thaw you out, Oops.
No, but men from the north know that if someone's wounded and cold like that, you get under the blankets with them, and it's just a question of the body heat.
Yeah.
A fire won't work.
So, we're about at time. I think we're at a good place to stop here. Before we set out to the next area? We got about 10 minutes left. Good session, guys. I very much enjoyed your deliberation and the role playing that was happening. Let's go ahead and do our normal roundabout. And while we're doing this, folks who are still with us and have been watching, go ahead and throw up in the comments any of your favorite moments and who you think your MVP for today was. I'm going to start with you, Shane.
Well, this certainly was a everyone game versus some of the others that were kind of like focused on one person.
Yeah.
I think Drogo had quite a bit of input. Sergeant Mushroom's kind of quiet some days, and today he wasn't. So I like that. As far as the funniest part was, Coco and his lyrics. I mean, Brian was throwing a lot of zingers out there, but that one stuck.
All right, cool. So, Brian, what about you?
Well, what I really like is our ability to have a party member look through the eyes of an animal and scout out a location. So I thought that Drogo's use of that again is crucial to how we're going to approach the next thing.
Excellent. All right, Coco.
Yeah, it was a tough one. Everyone really contributed very well. I do like how Drogo went to the Ox, and then we can use his bird to scout out. I really liked how Aesir looked for. Did anyone actually was able to leave this carnage? So I thought that was really smart. Tough to pick just a one MVP because I think everyone did really well. Favorite moment? I'll come back to that. I don't have to think about that. There's lots of good stuff. But actually, my favorite moment is just the joke with the log. That battering ram was just a running
ram's almost a character at this point.
Yeah, not the pun, but just a running joke.
Exactly. So, Sergeant Mushroom, what about you?
I thought Orvar's interaction with the guard in the camp, was funny. That was comedy gold, I think. So yeah, he gets my nod. But then again, Aesir having enough forethought to, hey, let me see if somebody walked away. So can I do 2 VIPs? Because you can. I would,
absolutely,
that'd be my vote.
We're not here for serious quantification. No, cool. And Grumpy, what about you?
I'm gonna give it to Drogo. I quite like the scouting with the bird and dealing with the ox. And my favorite moment was actually the interaction between Lucaldo and Drogo during the healing of the ox. I thought that was because we've seen a lot of dynamics between Lucaldo and Igor, some between Aesir and Orvar. Drogo is a little bit of an outsider, being a beast man and less civilized in some ways, and it was nice to see some something happening in that relationship. So
yeah, I liked when they mentioned we could eat the ox, and Drogo's like, "What?" hey, wait a minute.
Mhm.
That really hit his character very well.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, when I said we could eat that for dinner.
Yeah, it's like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, I noticed there was a visible reaction to that.
I thought that really hit his character really well. So
I have to say is like it's really hard for me to I can't really play favorites anyways. But I mean, you guys are all doing an excellent job of bringing individual character aspects. Caldo is still kind of the face man, sort of the translator, the intellectual in the party. Igor, even though he's kind of a dimwit, manages to come up with with ideas still, and
Yeah, the good ideas.
you're trying to use the character in the ways you can. With the mining, with your mining background, I was going to give you a chance. I gave you a chance with the die roll to see if you recalled something from like a patch job on a mining cart or something at one point to try and deal with the axle. Or you continue to play your character well as kind of the kind of quiet but cold Northman with with a past. When it gets called out, you got to deal with it anyway. It's fun to see Drogo develop, and I do like that with your Beastmaster character, you're using it in ways that are atypical for people playing that kind of character. Usually it's all about what you can do in the combat with the creatures. Maybe the scouting is pretty typical, but like bothering to actually go up and talk to the ox to kind of quiet it down and stuff like that. That's cool. I dig that. And of course, Aescure constantly being sort of the alert, sort of eagle-eyed, shifty guy who looks for the things on the fringe is paying off. You just have a really solid party dynamic. I think both in terms of characters and the roles your characters are playing. So yeah, another excellent session. I will post XP and stuff to the Discord later. But y'all did a great job. I do like your interaction with Kaza, how like nobody's really trusting him still. even though he came back and he's got a job for you at the same time, you're just like, all right, why should we do this for you?
And we talked him into a dinner party as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which has all kinds of potential for chaos.
This could go wrong.
I think
Yes.
Oh, it's going to go wrong in a glorious way.
I think the second favorite moment was when Aescure was like, I bet you doesn't make it all the way down that ramp on the shield.
Yeah, it's but yeah, I think also I appreciate that you guys are playing off the language parts when I call out the language. You guys are actually on top of what languages you speak, and you're playing off of that. You often find at tables everybody's just kind of like, oh, I heard that, even though he's speaking Goblin. I'm like, one guy in the party speaks Goblin.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good game. I definitely am looking forward to the next session, and we'll continue and see what happens with this Praetorian quest. All right, so everybody who tuned in today, I appreciate you joining us in the chat. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight. And 2 weeks, we'll be back playing some more. Have a good one, folks.